Ghana Talks Radio, number one. This is Ghana Talks Radio, the best station rocking the nation. Ghana Talks Radio, in a mix, in a mix.
The best music in the world. The best.
Best music.
My favorite station.
Ghana Talks Radio, in a mix, in a
about 2-3 minutes to tell us who you are. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. My name is Clement Abbas Apak. I was born on the 11th of June, 1970. I hail from Doninga in the Buza South District in the Upper East region. I am a Christian by faith. I am married with 7 children. I am a Ghanaian citizen. I speak 5 Ghanaian languages, including English, in addition to English. I began my interactions with formal education in Bawa Barracks Primary School in Tamale. As the son of a civil servant, I have a long history of having attended many primary schools. Safe to say, between Bawa Barracks and Sakasaka Primary School, which was the last primary school I attended, I had also attended.
Mr. Nominee, please be mindful of time. I said 2-3 minutes.
I was somewhere.
Yeah, and I think you are on your 5th minute now.
I did my secondary education in Sandma Secondary Technical School, now known as Azantulo Senior High School, 6th form in Nandom Secondary School, University of Ghana, where I was privileged to be in the Great Commonwealth Hall. I did my MPhil at the University of Bergen in Norway and obtained my doctoral degree at Simon Fraser University in Canada. I hold a PhD in archaeology, an MPhil in archaeology, an international certificate in archaeology, a Bachelor of Arts in history and archaeology, and a middle school living certificate. Mr. Chair, I think this will suffice for now. I'm grateful.
Thank you very much. And you are welcome once again. I am going to now give the floor to Honorable Minority Leader for his introductory remarks. Leader, you are on the floor.
Thank you, Chair. Honorable Nominee, kindly read before you a post made by you in September 2024, and that would be the foundation point for my remarks. Thank you.
Most grateful, Mr. Chair. The post obviously is one that I made. It bears my name and my image, and it reads, with your permission: the corrupt, useless, and reckless Akufo-Addo MPP government would rather deploy the military to chase phantom grain smugglers than deploy the military to deal with the Galamsey menace. Then again, what do you expect from a government party that is profiting from the destruction of our forests, the pollution of our water bodies, via illegal mining? Is it not evident that the so-called fight against illegal mining by the Akufo-Addo MPP government is a hoax? A vote for DMB/MPP is a vote to upgrade the Galamsey menace. Let's rescue and reset Ghana for our collective good. The alternative is the only option. Vote JDM/NDC. Grateful, Mr. Chairman.
My respected colleague, the first paragraph of your statement do you stand by this, or you believe that with the benefit of hindsight, you could have used a more measured language as a politician? I understand you made this on the 4th of September in the heat of campaign, but would you say that you could have been more measured in the language you use on first paragraph?
Honorable Chair, with hindsight, I must admit that the language was rather harsh. I'm grateful.
Thank you very much. This comes without doubt, you being of the academia stock, and you've earned my respect. That said, let's have a look at paragraph 2 of the same statement. What are your views on that as well?
Most grateful, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, whilst it is fair to admit that the content of this post could have been better presented, I must admit that it was influenced by the Professor from Pomboating statement as contained in the report that was in the public domain for discussion. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
But Honorable Nominee, the Frimpong Boateng report is not before us. In your report, in your post, you said, then again, what do you expect from a government that is profiting from the destruction of our forests and pollution of our water bodies via illegal mining? You see, you are not talking about the Frimpong Boateng report, though it's not before us, was talking about excesses of some individuals, like we have today. Today, your government is less than 2 months, but you know that last week, the minister, Omar Kofi-Boa, came to lament as to certain actions of people who are party members and are doing certain things. So I just want us to situate things right. You know, can we loosely also say that because a constituency chair is doing something and same is even affecting the image of government, it is the government? So, respected colleague, please give us an appropriate answer in respect of paragraph 2 so that we can make progress. Most respectfully.
Most grateful, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, given the context provided by the Honorable Member, it is only fair and appropriate that I concede that I was rather too excessive in blaming an entire government for the infractions of a few. I'm grateful.
Now, the last paragraph. The first part of your last paragraph would address it, but the second part of your last paragraph is a political statement. So that one, I will not take you on that, because the first part is a vote for DMB MPP is a vote to upgrade the Galamsey Menace. We will deal with that. you did full stop. Then you continue with the second sentence. Let's rescue and reset Ghana for our collective good. The alternative is the only option. Vote JDM and NDC. For that one, it's a political statement. It's normal. You were campaigning. Why not? You are not supposed to sing my praise. But the first sentence of the first paragraph, upgrading the Galamsey menace. Could the language have been different?
Given my responses so far, I would admit so.
Chairman, for the records, I am done with Honorable Clement Apak. I don't have any question again. It is only fair that when a nominee appears before us, constitutionally he is qualified under Article 78, and key matters that are of controversy, he is honest enough to say he's sorry about it or he takes them back. I do not think that for my purpose I have any more to say. I will yield to the expert in his field. Dr. Educhum is here. You know, you are going to deal with education matters, and my colleague Buama and Mustafa and Deputy Leader, they are here to deal with you on other matters. But for me, I am done with you. Save that, I want you to address us on your experience as a parliamentarian thus far in two languages, Dagbani and Kasim. So first, share with us your experience as a member of parliament, what you learned since you entered parliament. Say all of that to us in Dagbani to inspire the youth. When you're done, we go to Kasim, and perhaps we may do Hausa.
Grateful. Maybe Umboya, using Clement Abbas Park, Kanjabdo Nyama, Mananya MP, Nti Bulsa South. Nekana Parliament ma, Ntume Pam, Nsong, Bulsa South. Nishiama Ejabi Nyama Minya approva Netom Nti Ganza Kabiso Intetiza Umboya Na Mone Sante. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Honorable Akbak, now in Kasim, let the youths understand that it takes humility to rise to eminence, and it takes industry to rise to eminence, and through merits you get to higher heights. Let them be inspired by this in Kasim. Thank you.
Great, Mr. Chairman. Kasnaba Mama Awarama Ayabumu Abamelone Ana yetu anuno nchamo ako muyibu omanundo nga dibi yende na lopatu kumama sere pasba bu school sewata sodane sedna rikete se jwane bade Bakinona Bawamba Wodmanto Kumasedekamo Anajayotu Anunko de over school Akoko de over school Ama we willene Badi willene Bawona have school Pazam ayi MP Ani apak naji yozento satayi one of the school apa yi dia sene there over abande abajim yo atayi MPs akama mali ngrane akinle honorable chairman akinle.
Thank you. So finally, there is free SHS. The youths are benefiting. Some parents may not be appreciating the value of free SHS. Say it in tree. Say something in tree to encourage parents that in spite of everything, they should encourage the girl child to attend school and benefit from the free SHS. Say it in tree for me. Free SHS. Talk about the benefit of free SHS to parents.
Honorable Chairman, Madam Secretary, Yenina Ejetum, say free senior high school, a policy. Eti I was say yetumi ebo ehmodin na yema emano womuko school na omonso dachi omuntu memenya mpinfo na omuntu akponfaso ama omobusinfo ene omanga enti awofo ena abofo nyina obia mane nemre na omaneba enko school ni bi na
Honorable Nominee, the woman, the girl child. That's
the baba. Oman baba enko school. And I can say the baba bit nyai no. Yen kasa oba bit nyai, ya say oba bit nyai ya mo abuso. Nti akonya na aba no. Yema e mama no. Wọ́n sọ ọmọ faso na ọmọ nkọ school ọmọ nkọ free SHS níbi na ọmọ nwa so faso abẹ nyina bẹrẹ ma si bẹrẹ.
And Doc, do you assure the country that the loopholes you find in the implementation of free SHS, you will do all you can to fill in the gap as you promised Ghanaians? I want that one to be also intrigued. Then we'll conclude with Hausa.
Yo, Minion. I says, all share free SHS Abelia. Yen I also get to say, now so, yes, answer him say, Nyama community at Touchmount. Eti John Amani Mamma and Abine. Ah, Masha sin and say, you know. Ashamobo say, Yabba say, Beya free senior school. A bit me also for swore. I chain the S1 with the massive.
So finally, in Hausa, assure the teachers, the newly recruited teachers who have received their letter terminating their appointment, that, you know, effort to be made to see to it that the concerns expressed about it are addressed. I'm saying concerns expressed. This one is from the chair to you in Hausa. Thank you very much.
Nagori, Nagesu Kuka. Kenekunzi na akwe waransu tichochi nde mungia sofuta kadang se mududuba kende ai ankaos kama suzo sugwada yaramu dara school ba abinde ba abin da mun ce muna koro ticoci ba waranga na abin da ya faru na sini ya bari mun giya su bari mu duduba sai mu gani kende ya sa sun samu hacin na in hacin na sun samu si bisan hanya da ya kamata kowa ya samu haci si dai ba wahala amma waɗanda hacin na ya shiga hannunsu sai takarar da sun tere si an ba su hacin na ba takara sosai ba suna ya kamata mu duba cikin ne so kar kowa ji tsoro mun gode Allah.
Doc, I think that at this point the youth of Ghana who have lost their employment at the Education Ministry and at GES feel very assured for what you have just said by way of assurance. Thank you very much. I think my colleagues will proceed with this. Thank you. Chairman, thank you.
Grateful, Mr. Chairman.
Minister, just a second. I'm here to do my opening remarks. Mr. Nominee, Honorable Nominee, you have spoken a few languages here. Some I understand, some I don't, some others understand. But as Honorable Leader said, we are talking to the people out there. So I want you to assure the same people out there that this government will not cancel free education, but it will make it better and enhance it. No, please. In all the languages you have just spoken. Thank you.
Nkobisale mabisa mapusi ni mena mede lani bika Dr. Clement Abasina akanin ma kan bisi tibus na mena wa mena ni wom anjo mama le kwese namla admango ngopola wa mena abasu suyo kwese kana ale free SHS wa te kanti kweku tenti kumusuma atkunia te kumawa mina manini cham minu ya no amore micheo bia me shamubo sere mampini jona mama she gani na bono se fish near school policy no any program no won twemu na won twemu cha ono aka se aba yenyina yasum na nyoma ato shima ewo ho ayi na yenim se krakra ebe na asum foso a che foso a yesu no ebe krakra te mo obi ambo free near school dia aba yenyina so yes mabe mpoe John Mama mwone nyate president ni yalia ni frish ni askuma dirimpeni okusanle anina abora mama duko do mama didani NDC wa tabra mama who free senior high school na tutu ọba lamẹ ọchọkọ ọjàkọ ọzẹ kọnake yekuba ma de mama n'akọ na latẹtọ ọjàkọ mama sọkọ wọlé ba akama mali ọlọpàá which language is left. Very well. So I've done Buli, I've done Kasam, I've done Chi, Mabe Mbuya, Mbamene Yele, Nijo Mama, Wonkanama, Dabiamka, Free Senior High School Ma, Obia Sang, Dimbene, Mpoya. Mr. Chairman, I want to add one here as well. Mbamine Mamine, Yansma. The back John Damane Mama, Onwangane. We know NDC government. Kata Banka Penatiora. Ka Free Senior High School Ma. Free Senior High School. Kanyele. Koko Sam Free Senior High School. Kuna Malon Koviala. Kata Nyotana. Atua Mama Jalaja. Mpoya Jabarka. Great Chairman.
Thank you very much, Honorable Nominee. I'm now going to open the floor, and I will call in the former Education Minister. Mr. Minister, you have the floor.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Congratulations to the nominee on your nomination as the Deputy Minister for Education. I know where you are going, and I've sat in that seat before. I know you didn't get the time to also tell the country that you spent part of your youthful days in my famous hometown, Jachi. And so you and I share some relationship in regards to that, even though you were my fiercest critic whilst I was at the Ministry of Education. Honorable Nominee, Honorable Chair, I'll be grateful if the nominee can speak to us about the state of STEM education in Ghana today. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, the honorable member is right. Indeed, I did spend some time in Jachi, and I attended Jachi Anglican Primary School. I must put that on record. Mr. Chairman, STEM is the future. STEM is an abbreviation that stands for the study of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Indeed, STEM education in Ghana is in progress. Clearly, the previous government had done some good work in that area. As a member of the Education Committee in both the 7th and 8th parliaments, I have sat through meetings and presentations and participated in the approval of facilities aimed at promoting STEM education. The Chairman, as we speak, I am aware that we currently have 10 STEM schools at various levels of completion. My briefing informs me that one has been completed and indeed is operational. If we are to make progress as a nation and to take advantage of and prepare the future of this nation, which is our wards, our children, to participate fully in the fourth industrial revolution, we must continue to invest in STEM and to expand facilities to ensure that every Ghanaian child benefits from STEM education. Thank you, Chairman.
A follow-up or your next question?
A follow-up, please.
Okay. Please go ahead.
In terms of the briefing, 7 schools are operational and more to come. So that's 10 schools. That's just for the record. But I also would like, Mr. Chairman, of your permission for the honorable nominee to share with us how their STEM is capital intensive. How is he going to support his minister in terms of mobilizing resources to make sure that the STEM agenda will continue? Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Most grateful, Mr. Chairman. Indeed, my minister has already made a number of significant public statements with regards to the educational sector, and in particular, his willingness and readiness to build on what has been bequeathed to us by the previous government. Clearly, STEM is a capital-intensive endeavor, and we cannot rely on only government or public resources if we want to succeed in the manner in which we all anticipate. So if my minister was to seek my opinion, I would suggest that in addition to mobilizing local resources, we reach out to bilateral and multilateral partners, as well as donor organizations to support the effort. I know, for example, that the Mastercard Foundation has played a significant role in supporting the government and the Ministry of Education, and I think we can shop around for similar organizations and institutions to support our effort to promote and perhaps mainstream STEM education. I'm grateful.
Honorable Minister, before you go on to your second question, would you please let me allow Honorable Roxon to do a follow-up on your question? Thank you. Honorable Roxon, please go ahead.
Thank you, Chairman. Now, Dr. Park, the concept of STEM schools, is it new? I am aware that when we were in secondary schools in the 90s, government introduced what we call the science resource centers, resource facilities, and even added buses. Now, how is that different from so essentially the STEM as a concept is this new?
Honorable Chair, the short answer is no. The concept of STEM is not new, but the concept of STEM schools is new.
Now, if the concept of STEM and STEM schools is not new, can you briefly tell us when STEM was introduced into our educational system in this country? Briefly.
Very well, Mr. Chairman. The Chairman, I don't have this information immediately available, but I am certain that the concept of STEM is not new. I'm grateful.
Chairman,
Thank you very much. Mr. Minister, please continue with your second question. Thank you.
My second question, Honorable Chair, is to ask the nominee, based on his briefing at the ministry, what subjects have been offered in the STEM fields that has never been offered in this country before.
Grateful, Mr. Chair. Indeed, I have become aware, both as a member of the Education Committee of the 7th and 8th Parliaments, and from the briefing, that a number of subjects have been introduced, and they include biomedical engineering, aeronautics engineering, manufacturing, agricultural science, and I believe, yes, these are the ones I can remember now. I'm grateful, Mr. Chairman.
Please answer the question. If you have done. Oh, you going for a third question? All right, not a follow-up, a third question. And that will be your final question. Please go ahead.
Honorable Chair, thank you for the opportunity. My last question is on the implementation of the free senior high school, specifically on the feeding of the students. We've heard a lot of things during the campaign time, manifesto time. I want to find out from the nominee, based on his briefings, how are the students going to be fed by your government? Thank you.
Grateful, Mr. Chairman. Indeed, one of the topical issues that dominated the 2024 electioneering campaign was the way forward with regards to how best to address some of the challenges affecting the free senior high school program. And one of them was in the area of feeding. The Chairman, as I speak, the current arrangement, which is temporary. I say temporary because the John Mahama-led government is yet to present a budget. So the intervention that has been made at the moment is to provide resources to the heads of the institutions to procure food to feed the students. That is the current arrangement. I'm grateful.
Mr. Minister, I believe you have exhausted your question, unless you've done your three questions. Thank you very much. A follow-up to your third question. You are encouraging him to do a follow-up, or he wants to do a follow-up? All right, okay. Minister, go ahead.
Honorable nominee, I congratulate you in advance, and I believe that when you sit in the seat at the ministry, it's going to be an interesting one. But I can always now call on the Education Committee and will support you to succeed. Thank you.
I'm grateful, Mr. Chairman, and I'll do just that.
Thank you very much. Lisa, I'll now yield the floor to Adia.
Thank you, Chairman. Sanda zuwa. Tambayar da zan yi maka yanzu ga cikin Hausa zan yi. Kuma ina so ka mayar ni cikin Hausa, cikin Dagombanci da cikin Buli. Uku nan nake so ka mayar mini. Yanzu aka ga ko tambayar da aka riga ya tambaye ka. Da ya zama na bisan free education na secondary school. Bisan wannan zambi ka sasata muna game da yadda za ka amsa mini. Daya, an tambaye ka aka ce free senior high yana da kyau ko bai da kyau. Yanzu ka tun amsa free senior high yana da kyau, amma akwai abin da ya kamanci a yi ciki. Akwai abin da muka ce an yi, inda aka ce an review. Ina son ka sassaka ni, me yasa za a review, me aka ganci aka ce an review free senior high mu ya NDC.
Na gode. Na gode ma. Abin da ya sa an ce an review free senior school na ba wai da kyau ba, yana da kyau. Amma ka gani kan da program na ya zo na wurin da yara sun kwana wahala ne. Yau da muna firan ga ba su duka ne yara duka suna ce gaba daya sai su zo gaba daya ba. Waransu sun ce waransu suna gida. Abin da ya sa nan wurin da sun kwana nan ba kowane ya samu fili kwana ba. Na biyu, wurin abincinsu si ma yara waransu abincin da bai ke su bai yawa ba. Wata kuma abincin da an ba su na abinci guda kadai an ba su shinkafa, kamar bamba guda suna ci shinkafa kadai. Si ma ya kamata mu duba wanda ya makara burin school na kuma si ma yana da damuwa. Yara sun yi su school sai muna nema kamar sun kwana school wata uku, amma kafin nan bai ke wata biyu sai a gyara su gida. So waranga na ya bari mun biya mama mun duba program na mama sai mu jaja yara sai ba mu amfani fi amfani da muna samu nan. Bai ada nan bai jaja.
Chairman, point of order. Point of order.
Very well. Chairman.
After that, you grant me the opportunity.
Most grateful, Mr. Chairman.
In the middle of his response, please let him finish.
Free senior high school man mi yalma de son était pas ama anya din cheshema de mana musu biala bima papezan nchana school nkana shabe chandler school ka shabe yina de mana musu te bol me ne beza chan school kabazana kanaya anya bima bendelo me de me bala musu bima sheba bendelo ma de be par ka sheba bunto tipasin kafa bakwe ka bidirisin kafa de me nyala musu te bol ne te na ka dia ka bima ja chansku lamnanya ka bende ko mame ka be to dinte ka sontia mboya.
Mr. Nominee, please keep your answers short.
This is Ghanaian language.
Well,
it has to make sense if I don't put the context.
Yeah, but please keep them short.
Very well.
Yeah.
I'm grateful.
Chairman, it's not done. It's done.
I just gave another language. Mapusin Komamina.
Mr. Nominee, if you are done, please put your mic off to signal that you are done.
Very well. But there's one more question.
Yeah, sure.
No, she asked me in 3 languages. I'm grateful. I'm grateful.
Honorable members, the rule is if you speak in any other language other than English, which is what we use here in Parliament, you must actually interpret it in English. Now, if you speak any language here, the report will not capture it. The leader who asks questions in other languages stated categorically clear that he doesn't want those questions and answers to be captured. So if you speak any other language here today, just know that it will not be captured in the report. But you are free to do so.
Chairman, let me refer you to standing order 63 on language of proceedings. That the proceedings of Parliament shall ordinarily be conducted in English, except that a member may exercise the option to address the House in a local language if facilities exist in the House for interpretation by the member or for contemporaneous interpretation. It's a very clear provision. If any member so desires, that member must inform the leadership for you to make available facilities for interpretation. If not, those questions and answers will not find space in the report.
Well, I think what I've said is exactly what you're saying. It's clear. If you speak in any language that is not interpreted into English, or we don't have facilities here to give that interpretation, it will not be captured in the report. And the leader who started with the language thing himself was very clear that whatever goes between him and the nominee in any other language should not be captured, and it will not be. So what I've said applies to everyone. Haja's question and answer will not be captured. But she's here. If she wants to speak, interpret it in English, I will allow it for it to be captured. Otherwise, it will not be. So that's my ruling. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Please
Chairman.
continue.
I am ready and willing to say what the question was in English. But let us understand here and put it on record that this is not today that we started the issue of speaking the vernacular on this committee, and that it was yesterday that it was started. So, if for interpretation purposes, it's not a big deal. My question to the nominee was, he had already responded to the fact that free senior high school is good to go with. It's a good policy. Yes, it is a good policy to go with. But he should tell us, he should be able to tell us exactly what it is that the NDC has said that they will review the free senior high school. He should tell us what things are wrong with it or what is in it that would have been reviewed. And I think that, and the issues, that is what is there that is to be reviewed. So he has gone on to respond to me by telling me some of the issues, not all, that we have.
Please,
he has gone on to tell us, and for that matter the whole world, about issues of accommodation, issues of feeding, where he mentioned that sometimes children are fed with the same meal. That is where this your abinchi you are mentioning, food, rice, shinkafa, the whole week. People supposed to be in school, or students, they are supposed to be in school for, let's say, 1 week. And when they go 2 days, they are back home. So they are not able to stay in school as required. These are the responses that he has given in the two languages that he had interpreted, that he had given to me. So, Mr. Chairman, thank you very much for me giving me the opportunity to tell or to say what exactly, because I want it to be captured. My second question, Mr. Chairman.
Honorable, hold on. I want the nominee to respond in the answer he gave in the language that he gave that answer in English, so that your question and his answer will both be captured. Thank you. Mr. Nominee, please answer the question you have just answered in English.
Grateful, Honorable Chair. The Free Senior School Program policy is a good policy. The challenge that we find with it, for which we have spoken about improving and sustaining it, in other words, reviewing it, is to do with the implementation. And in my response, I listed 3. One was the issue of accommodation, which of course gave birth to the double track system. The second was in the area of feeding, where we have complaints about inadequate food and sometimes students being fed food made of the same staple, sometimes for a week. And then I also spoke about the sometimes erratic calendar, where you expect the students to be in school for a given period of time, and halfway they come home. So I listed these as some of the reasons why we think we need to take another look at the policy implementation so that we can address them to maximize the benefit that we are already driving from the program. I'm grateful.
Thank you very much. You have a follow-up. Please go ahead, Minister.
Thank you so much, Chairman. Chairman, I want to find out from the nominee, because he mentioned that the gaps that they identified, double track is one of them. I want to find out from the nominee how many schools in Ghana goes through this double track as at now.
Grateful, Mr. Chairman. Per the briefing I received, we currently have 709 senior high schools and 241 TVET schools. If you put that together, it works out to about 900 schools. Of the 900 schools, about 600 of them are still practicing double track, but it is now called the transitional system. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
That's your follow-up. You done? Is your response? I will not allow you, Minister. I will come to you, so please wait patiently for your time. Yes. Honorable Leader, you can do your follow-up.
Mr. Chair, Honorable Nominee, one of the things I want to find out from you is that if you are reviewing, that we have a didactic timetable, but I know that the ministry was always coming out with a timetable. So I'm wondering whether you have an instance where that kind of table that were issued out were varied without any consultation. Thank you.
Grateful, Honorable Chair. I don't know the justification for the erratic academic calendar. What I know is that students have come home on more than one occasion, and I speak to this as a parent whose ward is currently in the system and another ward who went through the system. They come home at times that we do not expect them to come home as per the announcements that were made for them to report to school. And I believe this will be attested to by many parents. So whatever the causal factors are, we ought to identify them and then fix them. I'm grateful.
Thank you very much, Honorable Nominee. Please, going forward, can you please make your answers as brief as possible, please? Adia.
Thank you, Chairman.
You have a last question.
Yes, please.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. I would want to find out from you, Mr. Nominee, on the issue of the reintroduction of PTAs, Parent Teacher Associations, in schools. What is its importance? And how do you intend to support the PTAs so that they can grow and do well as expected of them? I will be grateful if you can give me the responses in Twi and Hausa, and then you interpret it. Thank you.
Please, yes. Go ahead.
PTAs, Equal and Awufa Omoma Ewo School enkabomu. Ano na a friend of PTA. Na ye name say PTA no. Ekuwa eboa. Emma schools no. Etumi ekere akwara no so yie. Na enche bia na PTAs no jumana no mudi no. Na enye nyina ena womutumi edi. Enti yebeye no PA. Na abafufro abe wase wasadi ena kan. Enti abeye PTA. Enti a PTA ewo faso no se school no bibi ewo ho na se ha adwen ana se tochima awofo no etumi edi hu enkomo na enwa bi o betumi di aboa ama sa dia na ha adwen no o ma krakra no o ma krakra yedim se so ko schools ne bia PTAs omutumi esidan se school para no ene nkonya omutumi ayanto boa na omudi aboa ato nkonya ama nkora no ebi kura so wa omutumi toka edeche school no nkora no so bi wo amaso odi eti aba sama awofo no so etumi boa achechefo no Emma enkwara ọma so ọdin a ebia ọmo ni ye emwa adesua no yetumi akasa akyerɛ ọmo ama ọmo asesa ọmo suban enti PTA megidi sɛ ɛyɛ ade papa te sɛ abamfoɔ no sɛ PTA sɛ na ɛteɛ dada no yɛnsa nyɛ ne saa megidi sɛ ɛyɛ ade pa na gesi ko kuma John Mama government is the Azongana where PTA dan the answer chisi yazu PA na ya kawo PTA na kuma PTA kuma man sene da amfani ina tinye school yara ina tinye school na kuma akwai school sai suna ba kuzeru ko ba lori PTA na sunya su gani suna sai su da kudi su sai kuzeru su ba suna ko su sai lori su ba suna PTA na da amfani sai ni ya sa ga mama ya ce shi ya zo ganna a cikin da PTA ina yin na sun yes kuma na ba godiya. So what I've said is that the restatement of the parent-teacher associations to free senior high school status is positive. That has been done because we all know the roles that PTAs play. When schools have challenges, parents can have a dialogue with the teachers and find ways to try and assist the schools in addressing some of those challenges. PTAs have contributed to build infrastructure to support education service delivery in schools. We know of instances where PTAs have even procured vehicles to facilitate transportation for schools and students. And indeed, in many cases, they've also contributed to procure furniture and to supply to schools. Even in instances where some students misconduct themselves or exhibit deviant behavior, would they collaboration between parents and school authorities, they are able to address some of those challenges. So I believe very strongly that the benefits of PTAs justify the decision by the current government to reinstate them the way they used to be. I'm grateful.
Thank you very much. I'm going to yield the floor to you, so I can't let you do a follow-up. So, yes, Honorable, if you want to do a follow-up, then after I'll come to you, Honorable Minister.
I think we need to come out clear about the PTA issue. If I listen to you carefully, I get the sense that the contributions made by the PTA is what you are referring to. But PTA was never cancelled. I'll give you a typical example of my alma mater, where PTA built a dormitory for the school. It was never discouraged, and it was never cancelled. So I wonder which examples you are giving as a clear evidence of PTA being cancelled. I don't know. Is it the dues, the assistance? I know that as for the assistance, the dues, at a point in time, it was stopped. But the difference, the PTA as support for the schools and everything was never done. Was never cancelled.
Honorable Leader, as you know, this is a House of Records. You did mention your alma mater. Would you please tell us your alma mater, where you are using as a reference?
Sorry, it's the Louis Senior Secondary School.
Thank you so much. Okay, is it in line with? Okay, please, let's. Yeah, please go ahead. Honorable Shaibu. Please keep it brief.
Is it the case that PTAs, as we used to know, have been totally defunct, maligned, or completely jettisoned? Or, are you getting me? Is it the case that the PTAs, as we know, have been completely maligned, dysfunctional, and as if they do not exist? Is that the case?
Thank you. Please, honorable members, can we allow the nominee to answer the question? Thank you.
Great, Mr. Chairman. PTAs, as we knew then, up to now, were jettisoned.
Out of sports. Thank you.
A follow-up from me. I yield the floor to the Minister of Sports.
Mr. Minister, please.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, first of all, let me also add my voice in congratulating the nominee, who is my neighbor. We share boundaries, my constituency and his constituency, we share boundaries, and we've been very, very good friends. So I want to congratulate him. I want to congratulate him for his nomination. But I'll go straight to my question. Mr. Nominee, your government promised the good people of this country that once you are in power, you give free tuition and admission fees for all first-year public school, tertiary school students, universities. So I want to find out from you, when will this promise start? Thank you.
Great, Mr. Chairman.
Honorable nominee, you haven't yet gone into the ministry. You are not a policy maker. You are going to follow your minister, support your minister. You may. Honorable members, honorable nominee, you may answer the question. You may. And please review, because you are not going to be the policy maker at the ministry. So keep your answer expected of a deputy minister designated. Thank you.
Grateful, Mr. Chairman. I take your guidance. I am not going to make policy. What the minister decides as instructed by the president, I am obligated to support him. I'm grateful.
Chairman, Chairman, I know our colleague, the nominee was the ranking member for education, and putting up the NDC manifesto before the 2024 election. He was a key member of the committee that came out with the manifesto. I want to find out from the nominee. The government promised free tuition and admission for first-year tertiary institutions. Does this include teacher training colleges and nursing training colleges? Because a constituent of mine in nursing and midwifery college, Kubore, want me to find out from the nominee that whether they are part of this policy. Thank you. Because he was a key member of the manifesto. Thank you.
Honorable nominee, please answer the question.
Most grateful, Mr. Chairman. The Chairman, my minister, the Minister of Education, is on record to have indicated that the policy covers all first years in public tertiary institutions. Implicitly, that would include the nursing training colleges. I'm grateful.
Minister, you have is it a follow-up or is it a question?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's a question.
So you are your second question?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, please go ahead.
I want to find out from the nominee his take on the letter issued by the Chief of Staff vis-à-vis those who were recruited after 7 December 2024, and that of the Director General of the Ghana Education Service in revoking all teachers who are recruited and are not on government payroll. Mr. Chairman, I'm asking this question because there are teachers who might have been recruited in June, and yet their processes of getting into the payroll is still in progress. So I want to find out his take on these two disparities. Thank you.
Answer the question. Honorable nominee.
Grateful, Honorable Chair. Mr. Chair, I wish to seek your leave to correct a factual error.
Very well.
Mr. Chair, I earlier stated that some 600 schools were still practicing the double track system. That's inaccurate. It is 413 schools and not 600. I'm grateful.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, to the question from the honorable member, I have no take. I take instructions, I take marching orders from the appointing authority. And I wouldn't have any say in a matter of the nature he is seeking my opinion on, I'm most grateful.
Honorable nominee, as you have rightly said, let your answers also reflect that you are deputy minister designate and not the substantive minister, so that your answers will be short, so we can get through this. Thank you. Mr. Minister, I think you have one more question.
No,
he has a question.
Chairman in charge. Mr. Chairman, thank you so much. In answering an earlier question, the nominee indicated on this PTA whether it was cancelled during the previous regime or it was the dues that was cancelled. I want to find out from the nominee. Now that the PTA, their claim is that the PTA has been reintroduced. Is it that the PTA dues which the previous government took out of parents and students, because some students were being asked to go home because of PTA dues, and government thought that it was not appropriate. Is it telling this committee that with the reintroduction of the PTA, the dues that was taken off from by government from parents will be reintroduced? Thank you.
Is you done? All right. Thank you very much. I will then come to my right. Oh, yeah, answer. Oh, okay. Sorry.
Grateful, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I never made any comments with regards to PTA dues. I didn't. The honorable member sought to give a background, whereupon he referred to comments that I had made. But in the comments I've made so far, I have not spoken about PTA dues.
Honorable nominee, please take my guidance. Answer the question. And as soon as you finish answering the question, please put up your mic to signal that you have finished, so we can make progress. Thank you.
The nominee didn't get my question. I can repeat myself or make it more clearer. So that
I will grant that.
Thank you. Chairman, I'm just finding out from the minister, with their policy of the reintroduction of PTA, whether the dues payments will be reintroduced. Thank you. The PTA dues will be reintroduced.
I believe you have understood the question, so please answer the question. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, I am not the minister. I don't make policy. I am expected to support the minister to implement policy. And within that context, I am unable to give a response to the question posed. I'm grateful.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister.
Chairman, thank you so much. And once again, my colleague, my neighbor, congratulations, Clementa Park.
Thank you. I'll now yield the floor to my right, to Honorable Shaibu. Please, you have the floor. And please make your questions straight questions, no preambles, and hopefully the nominee will also answer the questions straight as the questions were.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Chairman, unfortunately, by my training, and the Honorable Agaga who are seated here, the judges will tell you to form a foundation, the basis of which you can ground a very good argument. So I'll go by that.
Honorable nominee,
I'm guided, Chairman.
Please, just go by my guidance. No introduction. Please go to your question.
Sharp.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chairman. And let's stay within PTA. This is an important association that has played a very critical role. You and I went to secondary school together at a time when the country was at crossroads. Indeed, there was severe food shortage occasioned by prolonged drought and devastating bushfires that swept across the entire Savannah woodland. At the time, it was secondary school that suffered the most. We didn't have food to eat. Two key players played a beautiful role in getting us to where we are today. Internal and external. The external includes the Bretton Woods folks, but the internal chaps were the parent-teacher associations. They mobilized food, they went to farms, they came together and did everything as we scavenged through and gleaned through nearby farms to get food. Now these associations, you and I know, are virtually absent and non-existent. I read from the papers, your will-be boss has said there will be reintroduction of it. Tell us what those plans are in getting back PTAs to the former glory.
Grateful, Mr. Chairman.
Again, Honorable Nominee, you are not here this morning being vetted as a substantive minister. You are going to your ministry as a deputy minister designate if this committee approves your nomination. So please be guided.
I'm guided, Honorable Chair. I would expect to follow the lead of my minister when giving approval. I'm grateful.
A follow-up. Okay, please go ahead.
Honorable Nominee, in the scheme of things, you have the parent, the teacher, and then the student. In defining the PTAs, we have often left out the student. Do you think it's about time we include the student in the structure? And perhaps we have often left out in practical terms. And so PTAs, you may want to add an S. Is that something you want to consider? You are talking about students. Would you help or suggest to your minister that in restructuring and bringing back the old glory of PTAs, you would want to include the student representatives, just so you take a cue from what is on the ground, because it's on the basis of the activities of the students that you form the PTA.
Grateful, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, I am not a minister. I wouldn't be making policy decisions. Should the minister decide that this proposition is worthy of consideration and seeks my input, I will proffer my opinion. I'm most grateful.
Dan, or you going to ask more questions? Okay, please go ahead.
Honorable Nominee, let's do WAEC, the West African Examinations Council. A few months ago, WAEC held the whole country to ransom. Indeed, they nearly disrupted the university calendar. What did they do? They failed and or refused to release the results of senior high students. Now, WAEC has played a critical role over the past decades. But for some reason, do you think that it's about time we introduce competition? WAEC had played a monopoly role over the years. Of course, we will learn that it was a blame game at the end of the day. Either government did not pay, WAEC did not do this, whatever it was. I mean, the monopolistic tendency of WAEC. It's only last week that the High Court ordered that WAEC releases 10,000 results of 10,000 students because there was no justification in withholding those results. Clearly, WAEC is taking the entire country to ransom. Do you think it's about time you will suggest to your minister that we introduce competition to the examination body?
Most grateful, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, again, whilst I'm not in a position to make any policy decisions, should my minister seek my opinion on this matter, I would suggest a national dialogue on our assessment methods to determine the way forward. I believe such a dialogue would perhaps inform us as a nation as to the factors precipitating the conditions that the honorable member has stated, so that we can find a solution. As a member of Parliament or the Education Committee, I have filed motions, at least in the 8th Parliament. I filed a motion with the support of my ranking member at the time, seeking a bipartisan committee to probe matters to do with WAEC and examination malpractices. I think it's a challenge that requires serious national attention. But for now, I can only support my minister based on whatever policy direction he decides best to address this worrying issue. I'm grateful.
Your last question, please, if you have one.
Chairman, I do. I want us to look at the centralized procurement for the secondary schools. The case of procuring either food or items for secondary schools for the past few years has been quite centralized. And that has brought about untold delays. In terms of food, they will have to wait many weeks, days before they receive wherever it's coming from. Would you suggest to your minister, if given the opportunity, that in order to work well and operationalize the secondary school system, procurement should be decentralized at the schools level or at the district level, just so there will be ease of transaction, delays will be curtailed, and smoothness of academic calendar will move.
Grateful, Honorable Chair. And as far as decentralizing procurement would inure to our collective benefit, I wouldn't have a challenge suggesting to my minister to consider that option. The reasons that the honorable member has enumerated. I'm grateful.
On this note, Chairman, let me wish the nominee the very best in his new role. I know he will do well in the new role. I wish you all the best.
I'm grateful, Honorable Chair.
Well, I will stay on my right, and then I will come to leadership on my left when I'm done. So I will recognize the Honorable Education Committee, as a subject matter. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chairman, let me use this opportunity to congratulate the nominee on his nomination. The nominee has worked with me for at least 6 years on the Education Committee, and he has been very useful to the committee since he joined us. One strength he has, which I am sure he will carry to the ministry, is consultation. Anytime he wanted to make any statements or do anything as far as education was concerned, he consulted and sought for advice and suggestions. I am sure that strength will help you in the ministry to support the substantive minister. Mr. Chairman, my first question has to do with textbooks. We have been in the fight for the lack of textbooks after the introduction of the new syllabus some few years ago. I know you are not the substantive minister, but should the minister seek your advice on textbooks, will you be in a position to tell him or suggest to him that although we are going digital, there's still the need for textbooks to be supplied, and if that will be carried out so that all schools in the country will have textbooks? Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I'm grateful, Mr. Chairman. Yes, in the affirmative. Textbooks are very important, and it shouldn't be the case that textbooks should entirely be replaced by technology. So yes, I would advise the minister, if he were to seek my opinion, to ensure that we have adequate textbooks so that every child will have access to a textbook. At the same time, also have access to digital technology for teaching and learning. The two are not mutually exclusive. I think it is the right way to go. I'm grateful.
Mr. Chairman, can I continue?
You have another one? Okay. You are actually standing between us and lunch, so please make the
thank you, Chairman.
questions short.
One issue which has been mentioned has to do with WAEC. We have been very passionate about issues concerning WAEC for some time now. And you will realize that we've spoken so much for WAEC, especially before the conduct of the BEC last year and the WASE. WAEC currently has a lot of challenges, and one of them is financing, the delay in the release of funds to WAEC to run its activities. Now, the issue now is the suspended or withheld the results and the reasons for which we know. Now, how or what advice will you give the minister so that these examination malpractices, which have led to the withholding of results, would be minimized so that results can be released in time for students to enter tertiary institutions that the same academic year? Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Grateful, Honorable Chair. Indeed, WAEC has faced funding challenges. And so, if my opinion were to be sought by the minister, I would encourage him to do well to ensure that government meets its responsibilities to WAEC timeously. Given the many years of advocacy in partnership with the honorable member on this subject, one of the reasons that we believe contributes to examination malpractices is WAEC's inability to recruit and deploy its own staff to invigilate and supervise examinations. So if WAEC has sufficient resources to recruit and deploy its own staff, I believe it could help reduce examination malpractices. I'm grateful, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. I will now yield the floor to the subject matter.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, for the opportunity. Honorable nominee, I wish you congratulations. I have no doubt that you're going to perform. Well, this is my question. Honorable Chair, decline in teacher authority in our schools has led to rise in absenteeism, truancy, and the violence that we always see on our campuses. Honorable nominee, what do you think is the way forward in ensuring that discipline comes to the campuses of these our second cycle schools? Thank you.
Honorable nominee, please go ahead and answer the question.
Grateful. Given that I am before you to be considered as a deputy minister to support a minister, I am incapable of proffering a policy solution. But I believe very strongly that one of the ways to address these challenges the honorable member has listed is the reinstatement of PTAs to their full capacity and not PTAs. I also believe very strongly that a dialogue with teacher unions and educators on their experiences, because they are the front line with regards to some of these issues, can also inform a policy direction on how we can address these challenges so that teaching and learning would go on smoothly on our various campuses as far as secondary education is concerned. I'm grateful.
Thank you very much, honorable member. I will now shift to my left and start with the Honorable Patrick Boama. Then leadership will continue on the left. No, yeah.
Chairman, thank you. Let me congratulate Honorable Clement Abbas Apak, who deliberately omitted from his CV that he led the very powerful outfit in Commonwealth Hall as a deputy chief vandal to Mr. Egbert Fable, Jr. Congratulations, Chief.
I'm grateful, Mr. Chair.
Life in Commonwealth Hall, I believe, still reflects in your actions, and it's embedded in your DNA that truth will always stand. Anyway, Chief, let's deal with this issue of indiscipline and the use of drugs in schools. It's something that you need to assist your minister in fashioning a way with parents to deal with. We all gloss over it, but we see it from the primary school level through to the JHS, secondary school, universities. It's an issue. It's because something weed, toffee, tramol, cakes, and what have you, biscuits. It's something that I believe going to assist Honorable Haruna Idrisu and the entire educational sector must look into. So I want you to tell parents and the country what you believe can be done to assist in solving this very dangerous issue that pertains in our tertiary institutions. Thank you.
Grateful, Mr. Chairman. And I acknowledge the terrible omission of a position occupied in the Great Commonwealth, of which I continue to be proud of. So, for the vandals, do accept my sincerest apology. I will do the needful within the context of the vandal tradition.
You can't sing here.
Mr. Chairman, the honorable member has raised a very profound issue that has the potential of destroying the investments that we have made as a nation and as parents. Because we are speaking about the future of this nation. And I believe the minister, knowing him from our days in Commonwealth and here in Parliament, is not oblivious to this challenge as well. It's going to take a concerted effort. Parents, educators, and the institutions to address this issue. But we ought to also instill values in our children. It is not just sufficient to nurture them and to support them, but they must have values. And that is why I believe that as a nation, we must make values an important component of our education. I'm grateful.
Chairman, I don't have a follow-up on that, and we'll be watching the space for the interventions you'll be introducing. If there's one thing that we as policymakers or politicians must be ashamed of ourselves, and as a country, is to always read about schools under trees. Just about a week ago, the education minister stated that we still have about 5,000 schools under trees. And, Chief, to read such stories is disheartening, especially after 68 years of independence. and the kind of resources that have gone with, both NDC, MPP, whatever, PNDC. We don't have any excuse. So if there is one thing that you have to do with Honorable Idrisu within the next 4 years, to at least halve the number, Ghanaians will be very happy about that. Do you have an idea of the budget coming to Parliament in 2 weeks and the kind of arrangements being made towards the resolution of this? Thank you.
Most grateful, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I have no idea about the budget that is to come to Parliament. But I believe very strongly that I would be briefed in due course. But I must agree with the Honourable Member with regards to the spectacle of schools and the trees. It does not befit the status and age of our nation. But by and large, it's a product of our inability as a nation to keep pace with the provision of educational infrastructure. So as the population is growing, and of course, we continue producing offsprings, but we are not providing the educational infrastructure to match the growing population. So when communities begin to increase in population and they have children sufficient enough to start a school, they initiate by beginning their own schools. And invariably, most of those schools would be under trees. So it is a national issue, and I believe on this we should be united in finding the resources, even in these challenging times, to address it, because education is a right. I'm grateful.
Thank you. I'm told you just had instituted a fiscal planning unit at the ministry to be tracking some of these things. Let's deal with the issue of capacity building amongst teachers and other educational staff. I think it's an area that you also must look into, because education is evolving and you just cannot keep teachers stuck in their old ways. So how are you going to assist your minister in delivering on this very important area? Chairman, thank you very much for the opportunity.
Honorable nominee, please answer the question, if there is one.
I'm grateful. The teacher is perhaps the most important variable when it comes to education. All of us gathered here are who we are because of a teacher. And since we are living in a world that is evolving, and there are new ways of doing things, it is only proper that we give teachers the opportunity and support to be able to upgrade themselves and their skill sets to enable them give their best. So I am ready and prepared to support my minister as he executes the mandate given him by His Excellency the President. And I know that includes teacher welfare and professional development. I'm grateful.
Chairman, thank you, but I'm informed there is a National Education Leadership Institute that has been set up that you can rely on for that program, which is being funded by the Big Win Foundation. And I believe with Haruna, the MP, you have a good minister to work with. And, I wish you the very best, Chief.
I'm grateful, and you are right. It's actually in my briefing notes. I believe you build on it for the betterment of Ghana.
Thank you very much, Honorable Nominee. I will now yield the floor to Honorable Jerry. Honorable Jerry, you are the one standing between us and lunch. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. V-mate.
Sharp.
So, Honorable Chair, so I have a very genuine observation. My observation is that we are at this stretch, we are at this point vetting deputy ministers. The normal excuse or cliche has been that, oh, I'm going to support my minister. We are all aware you are going to support your minister. But we also know that you are men and women who have enormous capacity to go and deal with the issues. So my suggestion is that when people are asked questions, they should answer the questions. And when they are unable to, just because they don't really have an idea, they should also say so. And that is fair to the Ghanaian community, instead of the normal excuse that I am going to support a minister. Yes, we know. So do we have to go ahead and vet because you are going to support a minister, or we shouldn't go ahead and vet? And that, I think we should all take a cue respectfully. I believe Dr. Clement Apak has the capacity to respond to all the questions he's been asked to respond to. So if not, then when energy comes in, he's going to support his minister. So why are we going to ask him questions bordering on energy? If Agri comes, he's going to support his minister. So please, I know, I just want to have this intervention from Chairman.
Honorable Leader, that is what it says in the Constitution. The Deputy Minister is to go to the ministry to support his minister. If you ask a question and he wants to add more to it, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But that is the job description, is to go and support his minister. So I don't think the nominee will be wrong to say that I'm going to the ministry to support my minister, or whatever the policy direction is what he's going to follow. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I do not think that we are at variance. All I'm saying is that all the nominees that come in, they have the capacity to respond to the issues they've been asked. And that is why, in the wisdom of His Excellency the President, he nominated them. So what we are doing here is to test your capacity, or to confirm, basically. Anyway, let me go to my first question. Dr. Clement Apak, I suggest to you that PTA was never cancelled. What was cancelled was the levy.
Grateful, Mr. Chairman. As far as I know, the decision communicated was that we were no longer going to have PTAs. We're going to have PAs, parent associations. Parent associations. The teachers were not to be part. And the parents could decide to mobilize resources, or if you like, play the functions that the PTAs that we knew before used to play. But the teachers were not to be part of it. So on that basis, if we say there were no PTAs and therefore we are introducing PTAs, we are right. We are saying parents and teachers can come together, dialogue, discuss, identify issues, and work at them. And it is on that basis that we have said that we are reintroducing PTAs, which is different from PAs. I'm grateful, Mr. Chairman.
Honorable nominee, examination malpractices are rampant in Ghana. They have largely marred the credibility of certificates or academic qualifications. Some people are called doctors when in fact they are not doctors. Some people have just found themselves at certain places because of examination malpractices. I know you are going to support your minister. I'm sure that will be the response. What are you bringing on board personally as someone with capacity? Or what are you going to suggest to your minister to do with reference to the issue at hand? Thank you very much.
I'm grateful, Mr. Chairman. Yes, I am not the minister. I'll be supporting the minister. But having worked on this issue somewhat, if you were to seek my opinion, one of the suggestions I would make would be for us to properly resource WAEC, so that WAEC will be able to recruit and deploy its own invigilators. The other area that I may make a suggestion to the minister about with regards to this issue is for us to dialogue with WAEC to consider the serialization of the questions, so that even in the same exam room, students would answer different questions on the same subject matter, which I think would thwart the effort of what we describe as exam room collusion. Because if all the questions are not the same, it will be difficult for those who collude to promote the malpractices to do so. I'm grateful, Mr. Chairman.
Honorable Chair, thank you for the opportunity.
Sir.
I think this is a matter of national importance, and therefore I would like my honorable colleague to know what we have done that they can follow. For example, BEC has gone through serialization. Different examination centers have different questions. That is what led to the situation where more practice at the BEC level has simply disappeared. But we want them to go further to a point when you will serialize within the exam room. And WAEC exams, certain subjects were serialized the last time. So the ministers of West Africa met about serialization across the countries. So we're on track to going to the WAEC International to make sure that within the classroom, different students will have different arrangement. At least your question 1 is my question 20. So that the idea of cheating within the exams room can be eliminated. So there's a way for WAEC to do this, but they also say that they need new equipment to ensure, digitalized equipment to ensure they can serialize. So I felt maybe this will help so that you build on it and take this examination more practices out of the way. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. You want to?
Yes. Thank you so much, Chairman. A really very good initiative. But would you take on board too the yawning gap between city schools?
Honorable member.
Yes, ma'am.
You are not to ask. Any questions?
No, it was a
member around the table.
No, it's a suggestion.
Your questions should be directed
Thank you so much.
to the nominee.
Very
So
well.
you are out of order.
Oh! Very well, Chairman. Which one is an important one? Very important. Yes,
Honorable Jerry, please continue.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. And that's a very good intervention. I pray we take it up. Yes, because the more practices are becoming way too many. I have, on a few occasions, met with my very hard-working teachers in Wejabawe. They've put across a few issues, one of which is their salary. Another is their teaching environment. And you'll be surprised that when I met them, none of them spoke about issues concerning themselves until I probed further. All the issues they raised were issues about their pupils. And I do not know if we have any award or reward system for maybe the best science teacher, the best maths teacher, and then the best female teacher. And issues of transportation. So I have a teacher who travels from Kwabenya to Wejabawe every day to come and teach. And they sometimes even come in and they are late. And they think that there are issues with reference to traffic and all. Honorable nominee, I know once again that you are going to support your minister. In this direction, how do you hope to support your minister?
Grateful. Yes, I am obligated to support my minister, and that I will do. But as somebody who is drawn from the academic environment, and as a rural person who represents the rural community, I can appreciate these issues. Matters to do with salary, obviously, have to do with releases on time and payments, and I know that will be dealt with. You are speaking about the quantum. Well, I cannot speak to that. I would make a case if given the opportunity, because I honestly believe that teachers are teachers are the most important in the scheme of affairs. All of us here in Gadet are products of teachers. If I had my own pot of resources, I would pay teachers more than any other group of professionals. But I don't. That is my personal opinion. Teaching environment, yes, it needs to be improved. Transportation clearly would enhance the work of the teacher, teaching and learning. I mean, as rural MPs, I can relate to that. I have teachers who live in Sandema and have to come all the way to my village, Doninga, to teach on a daily basis. And sometimes they don't get a means of transport. And when they don't get a means of transport, that means that all the children are going to go without tutoring. And I know that the NDC has a manifesto proposal to support teachers to be able to own their own means of transport. And I hope and pray that we would work with John Mahama as a nation to implement this policy. It will benefit all of us. I'm grateful.
You see, you have a lot elaborate knowledge on all the things you're talking about, and so I'm very confident when I ask you a question. Although you are going in to support your minister, Doc, just flowing from this, can we consider teacher housing and then the emphasis on transportation, because I am aware President Kufuor had such a policy for teachers and it was cancelled, on the provision of transport to aid teachers for duty purposes or duty-bound purposes. Can we consider that? May you, or are you likely to consider advising your minister on this route?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I will do just that. I'm grateful.
Doc, the NDC's manifesto laid emphasis on, once voted for, they were going to embark on an emergency infrastructure drive. You remember that? And that what you intend to do is to complete abandoned E-blocks and expand infrastructure in existing SHS and TVET institutions. Please don't forget, my STEM school, which was started by the Honorable Minister, is almost completed. How do you intend to finish that?
Grateful, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, as the Honorable Member indicated, the NDC presented a manifesto to the people of Ghana on the basis of which they gave your mama and the NDC the mandate. And I believe he will fulfill his promises. The almost complete STEM school in your constituency clearly will not be abandoned. I'm grateful.
Is that an assurance?
It will not be abandoned.
Honorable Nominee, I also want to find out, in your view, so I'm indicating or placing emphasis, in your view, as Honorable Dr. Clement Apak, how would technology be used to enhance service delivery in your ministry, the Ministry of Education, where you are going to assist your minister?
Grateful, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, technology is already playing a very important and significant role in almost every facet of our lives. And the Ministry of Education is no exception. I will support my minister, who himself is technology savvy, having served previously as a Minister for Communication, in whatever way he believes we can deploy technology to improve our services to the good people of Ghana through the ministry as expected. I'm grateful.
So, do you perchance have any idea of e-learning, and how do you intend to optimize or upgrade that e-learning?
Can you expatiate?
E-learning. So this is where, unless you want me to define what e-learning is to you.
Yes, I'll be most grateful.
Well, e-learning is using technology to provide education to the pupils or to the students. And that also even includes digitalization and the use of technology. So I am asking, with respect to you, how do you intend to optimize or upgrade e-learning in its current form?
I'm grateful, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, this is a policy decision. And since I'm only going to support my minister, it will be inappropriate for me to take the wind out of his sails. As I indicated earlier, the minister himself is very technology savvy. In fact, on this subject matter, I don't think that he will need my guidance at all. So let's give him the benefit of the doubt to lead. And if he needs my support, I'll be available. I'm grateful.
Doc, the teachers' allowance, is it teachers' training allowance, has been scrapped? Is that the case?
Mr. Chair, the teacher training allowance has not been scrapped. I'm grateful.
Honorable members, please allow the nominee to answer the question. Thank you.
So, Doc, do you know or do we have your minister's assurance that it will not be scrapped?
Most grateful, Mr. Chairman. I have no reason to believe that it will be scrapped because the minister has not said it will be scrapped. I'm grateful.
Doc, football in secondary schools, and in fact sports in general, one of the issues we've had currently with even our main sports is that the way we saw sports when we were growing up is not the same way it is currently patronized. Are you considering any new ways of generating interest in sports at the secondary level, at the basic school level? I mean, just last week, a group in Wager is one of the circuit groups. They had some sports program, but they did not even have any funding to do so. So I had to go in and support. But I want to find out maybe.
Most grateful, Mr. Chairman. Sports is a very important activity, not just because it keeps us fit, but it's also a source of great entertainment. I have been a sports person, sportsman myself. I mean, I played volleyball. One of my playing colleagues is seated right by the chairman. I played football. I played table tennis. My younger brother, who is here, played basketball all the way to the national level. And you are right. It is not the way it used to be. And that should be a cause of worry. My minister is a sports enthusiast himself. He plays football himself. And I think the challenge we face, as you rightly alluded to, is funding and is inadequacy. Given that he is a sports person himself, I believe very strongly that he would find ingenious ways to get private sector involvement to support sports in our schools, even as we look at what we can do to provide some support as a nation for sport and sporting activities to go on in our school system. Sports cannot be neglected. A very, very important activity that ought to be supported. We all do it. We buy the footballs, the JCs, and we provide the funding to support the district directors of education to organize important activities. It's a problem that we must look at and address. I'm grateful.
Thank you very much. I, Dr. Parker, I wish you very well. I know you are going to the Ministry of Education to fully support your minister. I wish you well in supporting your minister. V-mates.
Sharp. I will support my minister fully. I will support him the way.
Thank you very much. Honorable Jerry. I will wrap it up. Honorable nominee. And I want to draw our attention. The nominee and the nominees come. Those who are going to see today. And those who are watching us. and honorable members of this committee, I want to draw your attention to Article 79(1) of the Constitution. And with your indulgence, I read. The President may, in consultation with a Minister of State and with the prior approval of Parliament, appoint one or more deputy ministers to assist the minister in the performance of his functions. Our job here as an appointment committee is to vet the nominee who comes before us. His background, experience, competence, and the skills that makes him a good fit for the role that he is nominated if this House approves of his nomination. So, to stay within time constraint, it is important, and there is time constraint. It is important that our questions address these areas, and the answers from the nominee also respond to these areas. So, to go and support your minister is basically the job that you're doing. Of course, you have your own mind, you have your own views, which you may wish to express. But it is not up to you to be here and make policy decisions. That will be going against your minister, the substantive minister, had already been here. In fact, all substantive ministers. And any policy questions that you should address, they have adequately addressed them. So what we have heard here is what you are going to support. This is not just to you, but to all nominees and potential nominees who are to appear before us. Thank you. And then sorry. So be nice. So I will now proceed to read out the list that I have given for the friends and family who came here to support you. And I'm reading the names I've been given. And I'm going to slow down so that I don't get certain names. Yes. So forgive me if my effort doesn't end up to be adequate. The first name I have here is Mrs. Matilda Latte Park, who is the wife of the nominee. I have the brother of the nominee, Professor Daniel Park. And then I have Nab, Atap, Nguyen, Adela, Akambiana, Akambom, Dominga Chief. I have again Nab, Patrick, Awa, Ajiti, Bachung Sasa Chief. I have again Nab, Akankanta, Greenwen, Akankanku, the Te, who's the Fumbisi Chief. Then I have here Caesar, Abianab, Akinkan, Constituency Chairman of Bulsa South. Then I have Pastor Matthew Achang Woling. Then I have Honorable Roger Abolimbisa Akankanta Giron, who is a former colleague a former MP for Busa South. And I have Ayarik, who is a Pangachan, who is the constituency vice chairman of Busa South. Then I have Pastor George Lati, who is a brother-in-law of the nominee. I want to say thank you to our guests for coming here to support our colleague who is the nominee this morning. On that note, honorable nominee, congratulations, you are discharged. You will hear from the committee.
I'm most grateful, Mr. Chairman.
You can add the bye-bye to Honorable members, we are breaking for lunch now, and we will appear back here at 2 o'clock to continue the vote. Thank you very much, and thanks for your support.